And man, it feels good to be back. I've been itching to get back. And really what this video is here to do is to explain to you just where in the heck I've been. Heck, it's probably been about 2 months now since I've done anything, any videos or blog posts or anything, any emails. And I don't really apologize for that because I've always said that everything happens for a reason, and there is a very good reason why I've just disappeared off the face of the internet, I guess you could say, for 2 months. And I have been on an amazing spiritual journey, looking for the truth, and it's been an incredible journey. And I truly believe that, like I said, the best description I can give you is that your life is like a trail of breadcrumbs. And sometimes there's multiple breadcrumbs. Just imagine it like this. And this is really how scientists believe that time works. Actually, you've probably heard of the sine wave, which is describing time. Well, they now believe that there is another sine wave that connects at certain points on these time waves. And what that means is that you can, when you get to one of these points, okay, you can go 2 different directions in time. And I don't know if you've heard of the multiverse theory, but scientists and physicists now believe that there are, who knows, an infinite amount of universes, and some of them probably have the exact same people as we do in this universe or in this world. Okay, it's kind of like parallel universes, and physicists and scientists now, this is their theory. Theoretical. That's what theoretical physics is. They haven't, of course, really been able to prove it, but mathematically they have. Mathematically, their mathematical formulas are saying that this is an incredible possibility, and I believe that it is. And see, so just imagine that you've got a couple of different breadcrumbs. You can pick this breadcrumb and go this way, and then when you get to this point, you can decide if you want to keep going this way or if you want to go the other way. And that's how time really works. And here's the thing: is like people look at the Bible, and I don't want to get off track here, but this is part of what I want to say in this video, and I'm going to be doing tons more videos and blog posts about this stuff, about what I've learned, which has been a ton. I couldn't possibly give you all the information that I've learned in, just a few videos. But like, say Revelations, it talks about the end of the world. And Christians for however many years have believed that's the way it's going to be. Well, that's not the case. If you've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, they give us a whole new light on the way that the Bible was really written. And it goes back to, and this is all information that I got from a book by a guy by the name of Greg Braden, who I have the utmost respect for. He's an incredible guy. He wrote a book called The Isaiah Effect, and I highly recommend picking that book up. It talks about what is in the Dead Sea Scrolls and about prophecies and other things like that. And he talks about how in the Dead Sea Scrolls, or I'm sorry, in a time in Roman history, they put together a Council of the Knights, N-I-C-E. And what they did is they decided that there were books in the Bible that they didn't feel should be in there, and so they took them out. Okay, they took them out, and that started what we have today, which is a Bible that is, in a sense, completely different than the original, but isn't, if you know what I mean. If you look at it through an open mind, okay, and which is something else that I want to talk about, which is opening your third eye. There is actually, if you have not heard of this before, there is actually a third eye, which is biologically been proven to be the pineal gland, which is right in the middle of your 2 eyes and right at the base in the middle of your brain. Okay, and it actually functions like an eye. It's light sensitive. It has the same functions as an eye, only it's closed, and it looks like a pine cone. Okay, and remember that, because I'm gonna show you some pictures and symbolism that is throughout all different religions all across the world. Okay, and even in Matthew chapter 6:22, Jesus talks about the third eye. And he says, the eye is the lamp of the body. The eye, one eye. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Now remember, the pineal gland is light sensitive. But if your eye is unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And something I want to say here is that the goal of, and for those of you that haven't been following this stuff at all, and this is your first introduction to it, there is what I guess you could call an adversary against us. And some people call it the Illuminati, some people call it the New World Order, the Bilderbergs, the elites. They're all the same thing. I just assume to call them the Illuminati because that's really what they are. And they have done everything in their power to keep our pineal glands what you call calcified. And one part how they do that is through fluoride. Okay, and you can believe me or not, those of you that are older and have maybe followed this a little bit, you know that there's been tons of controversy about fluoride. And here's something that most of you probably don't know, is that the one ingredient in rat poison, guess what that is? Sodium fluoride. Okay, now look at the back of your toothpaste, and you will see almost 90% of toothpaste has sodium fluoride as their ingredient. Fluoride is also the same ingredient that's in Prozac. I could go on and on and on. It's been scientifically proven that it is horrible for you. And they're fluoridating our water, which has been proven to cause bone decay, brain damage, I mean, just all kinds of horrible side effects. But here's the reason why they're doing that, is because it also calcifies your pineal gland. Because these elites don't want us to know that we have this third eye inside of us, which, as Jesus said, is the lamp of the body. And so if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Okay? And then it goes on to say, but if the eye is unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And that's what the elites want us to. They want us to be in the darkness, which we have been. I'll give you, well, let me finish this. And then it says, how great is the darkness. So, but here's an example of how two different, this is a little pocket Bible for kids, how different these translations can be. Here's this pocket Bible that says this for the same verse. The eye, so it says one, the eye is the lamp of the body. And then it goes, if your eyes are good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? So one little word, or one little character, S, changes the whole meaning of that verse. Okay, and so that is the problem with these translations. So that's why I said, yes, the Bible has been tampered with, but no, it hasn't. Because if you look at it through an open mind, you will be able to see the meaning behind what they're saying, no matter what the translation is. And I recommend doing that, whether you're Christian or not. Because here's the thing, is that there are not multiple gods in this universe, okay? And if you want to even call it a God, I call it God, because that's just the word that I know that it is, but it's an infinite presence in the universe. It's as it says in the Bible, the Alpha and the Omega, omnipotent, omnipresent. It's everywhere, okay? And there is not more than one, okay? There is not more than one infinite power. There is only one. Now, there are other, whatever you want to call them, angels, gods, goddesses. There are other beings that help this infinite presence, and they have been visiting our earth for thousands of years. And I hate to call them aliens, because they're not aliens. They are our brothers and sisters. But you look back down through history, and this is what I've been, a lot of what I've been studying, along with the spirituality side, the religious side, theology, all that stuff. But this is what I've been studying, is how in the world these Egyptians, they calculated the speed of light in the dimensions of their pyramid. Now explain that to me. They also lifted stones of block that were hundreds of tons that we can't even lift today with our strongest cranes. Okay, so think about that. And they lifted these things for miles. I believe the Egyptians, their quarry was 600 miles away. 600 miles away. Okay, so obviously there is a power. They possessed a power that we today don't even have. Okay, that we've lost, we forgot about, or has been hidden, whatever you want to call it. It's the occult. Okay, and just so you know, the occult, occultist does not mean Satanist. Occultist just means hidden. A lot of people have that programmed in their mind that the occult means Satanist. No, that's not what it is. It just means hidden. And there is a lot of occult knowledge out there. And I'll tell you, just to give you a little story of how this all happened. Well, most of you know that I was in the Empower Network, and there's a guy whose name is Justin. He's a top earner of the Empower Network, and he posted a link on his Facebook for this movie called Sirius, the documentary by Dr. Stephen Greer, who is also an incredible guy. And I recommend watching that movie. You can just go to Google and type in Sirius documentary online, and you can find a free version of it. But I do recommend, if you do like it, purchase a copy, because it helps the cause. And what this movie is about is a wide range of information. It goes from the military-industrial complex, the Illuminati, to free energy that's been hidden from us, to extraterrestrials, or what I like to call our brothers and sisters, but we know them as extraterrestrials or aliens, and UFOs. I mean, it talks about everything. And like Dr. Stephen Greer says, the important thing is not the fact that UFOs exist, because we know they exist, but it's how are they getting here? What technology are they using to get here? And that's where the rabbit hole gets so deep when you go there. Like how Nikola Tesla created free energy back in the early 1900s that the government has possessed for almost 100 years now. Okay? We have had the technology to have free energy. Even the ancient Egyptians and Sumerians had free energy. They have now proven that the Great Pyramid was not a tomb. There has never been a body been found in the Great Pyramid. And they now proven that they believe it was a massive generator of electricity, of energy. That's not the right word. Power plant. There we go. It was a massive power plant. And I'm not going to get into that because that's not as important right now. I'll get into that later. So, guys, the importance of, what I recommend doing is go out there and look up this information for yourself. I don't want you to take what I'm saying for facts, okay? I want you, what my goal, my intention is to open your mind. I'm not pushing any of my beliefs on you, okay? I'm telling you what I have found, okay? Which there's so much information out there, it's mind-boggling. And, my dad always says that the internet is ruining our society. And I would beg to differ and to say the exact opposite, that the internet is saving our world, because this information for thousands of years has been hidden, because the only way that you could get it is through these priests and these magi, the alchemists. They all possess this knowledge, but it was occult. It was hidden from the mass public, the masses. And unless you really wanted to know it, you never would find out. And so now, these elites, these Illuminati have controlled the media. They control the media. And if you don't believe me, just look up the Rothschilds, okay? The Rothschilds are an extremely powerful family. They're the only trillionaires in the world. They've been around for hundreds of years. When Napoleon was fighting the British, just to give you a brief history and what they have done. Now, the whole family isn't evil. I don't mean that, but a lot of them are. And what they did is when Napoleon was defeated by the British, the Rothschilds told the British that Napoleon won, and their stock market plummeled, and the Rothschilds went in, bought every single stock on the market, and then when word got back to Britain that Napoleon lost, their stocks soared, and the Rothschilds owned all of Great Britain at that time. And that was 200 years ago, I think, maybe over 200 years ago. And ever since then, they have financed both sides of almost every single war that has ever happened. Okay? And so there's your main power. But there's, of course, the Morgans, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers. They're all involved too. Not all of them. Like I said, not the whole families of those are bad, but there are a certain few that are. And where was I going with that? The Rothschilds. Oh, they purchased a news agency. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's huge. Anyways, they purchased a news agency. For the life of me, I can't remember it right now. And then that news agency purchased another, and eventually they owned the whole media, and they controlled the information that was given to the public. And that's been going on for hundreds of years now. Okay, so anyways, that's a little tangent I got on, but the internet is so important, guys, and I recommend that you go out, get this information as soon as possible, because these Illuminati, their agenda is to control the whole internet. That's why Edward Snowden released the information on the NSA, and their goal is to control. There was actually major news agencies across the world that published articles about how they want to control the whole internet. The NSA's agenda is to control the whole internet and to even shut it down completely. So I recommend going out, getting this information now. If you have Firefox, there's actually a plugin that you can get that gives you at the bottom of YouTube videos a little tab to download the videos. And I recommend doing that. Storing it on your hard drive if you have an external hard drive. Every video that you find interesting, download it, okay? Download it. So that way, even if the internet does go down, you have that information. Now, I don't think that the internet will, because there is a resistance against what these elites are doing. And that's part of my goal and I believe my calling now is to become part of this resistance. Now, with that being said, when I say resistance, I don't mean physical force. War is not the answer. War is what these Illuminati want. They want war, okay? That is not the answer, guys. And that's why I highly recommend picking up the Isaiah Effect and looking up Greg Braden, because there has been proof. There is a new mode of prayer found in these Dead Sea Scrolls. And let me give you a little history real quick, and I'll try to make this quick. The Essenes were the writers of these Dead Sea Scrolls that were found in Qumran. I believe that's how you say it, Qumran, Qumran, which is above the Dead Sea. And they're an ancient group of people that had ancient rituals and teachings that were passed down through all their generations. And they were a very well respected group of people. And they, even existed during Jesus' time, and I believe 500 years or so before Jesus' time. So they were very well respected, and they had all these scrolls. I believe there was, I think, 20,000 different scrolls found in these caves, which is unbelievable. And you can find books. I have yet to find out which is the best translation. But back in 1991, they finally allowed access to these scrolls. So these were found in I believe 1945, 1947. So for 50 years, the governments, these elites, tried to hide and suppress this information, but they couldn't do it. And finally, they had to grant access to the public, and then people rushed in to translate them. And there is some incredible information found in these scrolls. And like I said, I highly recommend picking up. You can go to the bookstores or Amazon and find translations of the Dead Sea Scrolls. But there's a little different story in these scrolls. For instance, the book of Enoch. If you look in Genesis, it actually, when it's talking about the lineage of Adam and Eve, it talks about Enoch. Let me just show you real quick. And it's talking about how, so like, here we go. Okay, so it says, I'll start right here. When Malahalu had lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. Malahu lived after the birth of Jared 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Mahalu were 895 years, and he died. So every person other than Enoch, it says that, he died. So then it says, when Enoch had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after the birth of Methuselah 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Enoch walked with God, then he was no more because God took him. Now there was another, I believe it was Elijah, who also was taken by God, okay? And those are the only two, of course, other than Jesus, in the Bible, I believe, that were taken by God. Well, here's the thing, is that in these Dead Sea Scrolls, there was a book of Enoch. So if you think that he was that righteous, that even in our Genesis, it talks about him being taken by God, you think that he would have wrote a book, and that book would have been one of the most important books in the Bible. But yet we have no book of Enoch until the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. And Enoch talks about these fallen angels coming down, and there's a very brief verse in Genesis that talks about that too, about the sons of God, which I think are different than the fallen angels, but it doesn't matter. That's a topic for another video. That came down and mated with humans, okay? They took wives and mated with humans. And so the Dead Sea Scrolls are so important, and every ancient religion is important. I've started to get into even Buddhism, which is incredible. I think of more of Buddhism as a philosophy than as a religion. But here's the thing, is that if you look at every ancient religion, they all have basically the same story and the same meanings, the same parables, the same stories. I think every ancient religion has the story, of course, of creation, of Adam and Eve. They may call them different names. Then you also have every ancient religion just about has the story of the flood, has the story of the Tower of Babel. I believe Cain and Abel is another one that's in almost every ancient religion. And almost every ancient religion has a Messiah figure, like Jesus. Okay? And so it's incredible when you look at it that way. How in the world did all these ancient religions get the same stories? And why are we so segregated, so separated? If you're a Christian, your views aren't right, or vice versa. I'm a Christian, your views are wrong. I see, and to be honest with you, I was a Christian. I do believe in the Bible. I think the Bible is one of the most important books in our history. Okay, but that being said, I believe that this was purposely tampered with in order to do exactly what's going on right now. Okay? Because think about it. Think about how many religious wars there are. Think about how segregated we get when really the underlying story, the underlying meaning of every ancient religion is that we are all one. Okay? We are all one. And peace, love, prosperity, more peace and love are the two main meanings inside this book. Peace, love, prosperity for everyone, not just for a select elite few. Okay, and so what happened is, these elites, which you can trace back down even through ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, the elites, purposely tampered with religions in order to segregate people and to put people against people. And I see so many Christians. Christians are the worst. Now, I'm not talking bad about Christians, but Christians are the worst at believing that their religion, this right here, is the only truth. And if you're not a Christian, you're not going to be saved. Well, I call bullshit. Okay? That is, my God would not save somebody because they are, say, a Buddhist, or they are, say, Jewish, which basically has the same stuff, or Muslim. No, that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is. Not in my world. Now, again, you can get your own meanings, but I call bullshit. I believe, as long as you believe that there's a God, also, I believe that Jesus is real. Now, was he the Son of God? I don't know that answer. I think he was. I think he was, I guess you could call like an angel, somebody who was sent down to teach us the truth. And there are, like in the Dead Sea Scrolls, you get a lot more of Jesus' story and of his mother, Mary. There's even a book called, I believe, the Book of Mary. And it talks about how, her life, more about her life. And, I believe, just like, the Buddha, forget what his name, Satmar Gautama or something like that, was a chosen one. He was another one that was sent here to bring us the truth, and he lived 500 years before Jesus. Even the ancient Egyptians predicted Jesus coming. Okay? So, therefore, I believe that as long as you believe that there is a creator, okay, and you live like, for instance, the law of karma, I think is one of the most important laws in the universe, and it is so true. And basically the law of karma, most of you probably know, but the law of karma says that whatever you put out, whatever you do to somebody else, will be done to you. So if you lie, cheat, and steal, that will happen to you. And I can tell you from personal experience that that is the truth, because most of you know I was an alcoholic and drug addict. I still am, but I'm recovering. And I was a liar, cheat, and a thief. And that's what I had happen to me. I had everything that I owned taken from me. Some of you have heard this story, where I had a negative $300 bank account. I was laying on the floor of my buddy's apartment withdrawing from drugs and alcohol. I had no car, no job. I thought it was the end of my life. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. And the funny thing is, last night I was watching a video from a guy by the name of David Wilcock. And if any of you have watched Ancient Aliens, you probably recognize that name. He's on the History Channel show Ancient Aliens, which is another awesome show I recommend watching. That's the show that really got me started, along with Sirius and then some other things. He was talking about how there was a guy, I can't remember his name, but he looked at every ancient religion and he realized that they all had this same formula, which is called the hero's journey. And I recommend looking it up. Actually, maybe I can here right now. And we'll talk about that here in a minute, and also the Pinecone. I don't want to keep this video too long, but this is important information, guys, and probably the most important information I can give you is to practice spirituality, to start meditating. Okay, and I'm going to talk about the Fibonacci sequence and solfeggio frequencies, which, tie into the Fibonacci sequence. Got the hiccups here. Okay, come on now. I guess I'll go ahead and show you this. No, here it goes. Okay. Okay, so here's the hero's journey. This is the one. Oh, that's too small. There we go. Okay, so you can see here that you're called to an adventure or whatever story you're in, and you can even look at Star Wars. Luke Skywalker, George Lucas used this exact same formula. There's a call to adventure. There's some supernatural aid. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. Then threshold guardians. So you have some guardians. And then here's the beginning of the transformation. You have a helper come in, then you have a mentor. You could call this not Yoda. Then you have challenges and temptations. Then you have another helper come in, and then here's the abyss. Okay, where you think all hope is lost. There's no chance in winning. See what I guess you could call this. I don't know what part of the movie that would be. Anyways, if you've seen Star Wars, you may know. But all hope is lost. There's no chance of winning. And then all of a sudden there's a revelation and a transformation happens. And then there's atonement. See, atonement, usually there's a fight with their father. Star Wars, with his father, there's an atonement. Then there's the gift of the goddess, return. And they have to return back to the world that they know. See, here's the known world, and here's the unknown world. Okay, so that's the hero's journey. And if you look at almost every ancient religion, they follow this formula. Okay, so even the story of Jesus follows this exact formula. And it's pretty crazy. And what David Wilcock goes on to talk about, it's actually his new book called The Synchronicity Key, which talks about how history is a formula. And there are predictable things that happen every so many years. And it's crazy. Like, for instance, 9/11. I believe it's a 539-year cycle, I guess. I didn't get into there's only one part of the video that you can watch. this part 2 hasn't come out yet, but I recommend buying the book, which I'm also going to do. But anyways, and so 539 years within 6 days, 539 years ago, was some extremely important war was going on, and some extremely important thing happened 6 days within 9/11. Okay, so it's incredible. That's just one example. There's many other examples that you can go through, but it's incredible, and it just goes to show you that history repeats itself. And I'll never forget my principal, who was my principal for 8 years, 9 years, was an amazing guy, and he taught our 8th grade class. And at the end of 8th grade, I remember him saying that, or maybe it was 7th grade, I can't remember. But anyways, he said, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that made absolutely no sense to me at the time, but I continued to ponder on that. And I believe that he was somebody who was sent into my life for that very reason. And he got me thinking, and I thought that makes sense. Because, I mean, you look back through history, and things change, but then they come back to be the same. You know, for instance, like America. We fought against the British because they were taxation, you know, there was taxation without representation. They were becoming a huge monarchy, and you know, there was no freedom. Well, look at where we are today. Okay, we're at the exact same place, actually worse. All right, and if you don't believe me, just look at the news, and not your mainstream media. Look at, you know, InfoWars. I mean, it's a good place, but I think Alex Jones focuses on too much negativity. But still, it's a good place to get real information. And there's other places too. But anyway, so that's that. Now I want to tell you a little bit about the Fibonacci sequence. If you've never heard of the Fibonacci sequence, this will be extremely mind-boggling to you. Okay? And it was to me. The Fibonacci sequence goes like this. It's a sequence of numbers that go on for infinity. You've got 1, 1, then you just add them up, the last two. 2, then you've got 3, then you've got 5. Okay, and it keeps going on for infinity. Then you've got 13, 21, 34, and you know, it just keeps going on for infinity. So here's a picture of the Fibonacci sequence, and it makes a spiral. So if you graph it out on a graph chart, okay, you can't hardly see them here, but you've got 1, 1, then you've got 2, 3, 5, and if you connect the radiuses of these, it makes a perfect spiral. All right, and it also has to do with the golden ratio of 1.618. All right, and you'll notice here, you can see some other pictures. Look at the nautilus shell. Okay, every single part here that's added onto the nautilus shell follows this Fibonacci sequence. You can look at, you know, snail shells. You can look at the pine cone. All right, it follows the Fibonacci spiral. You can also look at the galaxy. This is the most important part. Right here is right above us. There's the Fibonacci sequence, the Fibonacci spiral. That's incredible. It's also in your ear. Okay, right here, it's in your DNA. It's all throughout your body. You also can break it down. That's why the Star of David is so important, is because if you take the little, you know, lines, it breaks down into, you know, put 2 on 1, it makes the size of the 1. I can't hardly explain it. You have to see it. But anyways, that goes with this. You know, this is like 2, whatever, 3, 5, 8, something like that. And your whole body follows this golden ratio, okay? It's pretty crazy. Now, leading to that is the pine cone. All right, I was telling you about the third eye and how your pineal gland is in the shape of a pine cone. All right, now look at this. If you don't believe me how important the pineal gland is, all throughout history, every ancient religion, every religion has the symbol of the pine cone, which the pine cone represents the pineal gland. You'll see here, this is the Vatican, okay, the largest pine cone statue in the world. Now, why in the world would that be at the Vatican? Okay, why? Why would they have a massive statue of the pine cone? You'll notice here, I believe this is a Buddhist temple. Looks like the pine cone. Okay, and then see, okay, anyways, he wears, you know, the pine cone on his head. See? Pine cone, all right? Then you even have it on the Pope's staff. Then you have it on the staff of Osiris, the Egyptian god. Okay, you have it in Greek mythology. All right? Here's one that I didn't know, but this is, of course, a crop circle where they're showing us the pine cone, all right, and how important it is. So you can see, I mean, look at this. Even the Nazis were obsessed with the pine cone. Hitler was obsessed with the third eye and tapping into this third eye, because he knew that when you tap in, when you open your third eye, when you decalcify it, like I was talking to you about, then you have some amazing powers unlocked. You start to see the world in a different way, okay? And that is the key to spiritual development. If you have ever heard of your chakra system, there are 7 chakras in our body. You have the root chakra. Then you have, I believe it's the sacral chakra. Then you have, I can't remember all of them perfectly. What's the next one? Anyways, I can't remember. Then you have the heart. Then you have the throat. Then you have the third eye. And then you have the crown. Now, the heart is the middle. Okay, and this is what connects. This is your spiritual chakra, your spiritual chakras, and then here's your physical chakras. Okay, and I recommend that you look that stuff up because it's extremely important. Now, I want to tell you about the solfeggio frequencies because these are important when it comes to meditation. Okay, so when you look at the Fibonacci sequence, music, and Pythagoras was a major person in developing this stuff. He was obsessed with the Fibonacci sequence. All right, and I recommend going to YouTube and looking up video series. I'll be putting together some stuff like it called Ancient Knowledge. It's an incredible video series, one of my favorites actually. The guy that put it together is he's extremely intelligent, and he put together a lot of good stuff that, you know, of course, he found across the internet and some stuff that he did. But anyways, he teaches you everything. There's 7 parts. Some of them have multiple parts. The first one is about consciousness, okay? And consciousness is another extremely important part. Everything in this universe is conscious. This book right here is conscious. Everything is consciousness, all right? So then he takes you all the way to even how the Egyptians built the pyramids, okay? He has cracked the code by a guy by the name of Ed Leedsklin, I believe is how you pronounce it, who built Coral Castle in Florida. If you've never heard of Coral Castle, it's amazing. Look it up, or you can just watch this Ancient Knowledge. He tells you about it. But he left clues, and this guy, whoever created Ancient Knowledge, cracked the codes and figured out how they built the pyramids. And it was through levitation and anti-gravity devices and all kinds of other things. Okay, too much to go into right now. So what was I saying? I was talking about the solfeggio frequencies. If you just go to actually, there's a really good one that I listen to a lot. It's a whole playlist. This is a good one right here. This guy's channel is Occult Teachings. Okay, and if you just type in "I reveal to you my secret method to open the third eye within 7 days," this will come up. This is an incredible audio. I had some incredible experiences listening to it. There's also a playlist. If you just type in a track, Prosperity and Abundance 528 Hertz, that's one of the different hertz. There's many of them, but that's one of them. And this is a whole playlist of different videos with different hertz, different things to help you open up your chakras, to help heal you, to help you open up your third eye, all different kinds of things, help you meditate, put you in a deeper trance of meditation, which is important. Okay, so guys, I think that's all I have today. It's a pretty long video, but this is important information. Just know that I'm going to be changing everything up. I'll probably keep my old blog and just go ahead and build a new one that's going to be focusing on this stuff. I don't know what's going to happen with my marketing, if I'm going to be doing any marketing like with what I was doing before, GVO, all that stuff. Like I said, I know that my path has shifted to a different way. I've taken another breadcrumb, and I'm just following it. I'm going along with it. And my goal is to help you to find your life path, because everyone here has a purpose, guys. Everyone here has a purpose. Okay, and let's bring peace, prosperity, and happiness to this earth. Okay, let's do it, guys. I need your help. Everyone needs your help, because again, it's all about unity and realizing that we are all one. All right, now be on the lookout for another video. I'll probably do another one tomorrow, going in more detail on some more important things, and just, you know, wide variety of stuff, guys. So just keep your mind open, guys. Have an open mind. Break the programming that has been given to you, because believe it or not, and this isn't a negative thing, okay, because I was programmed too until I stumbled across this information and unprogrammed myself. But everyone, or almost everyone, is programmed to think certain ways, all right? So that's all I got, guys. Namaste, peace, love, happiness. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Do something good today for someone else. Help make a difference in the world.